everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Good Life Small Business Podcast. And I am honored today to be joined by Trevor Brown of the Kearney CrossFit. And before we get started, I just want to say congratulations to you and your family on the newest addition.
Thanks.
Yep. 2 girls at home right now.
3 girls if you count the wife. So yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I've got 4 girls at my house.
Oh, holy cow!
My wife, so I know what you're going through.
Yep.
But congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations. So let's just start off. Let's talk about what books are you reading or listening to right now.
Well, let's get on what books. So, to be honest, don't read a whole lot of books. My schedule is so crazy that it seems to be every spare minute I've got, it's watching YouTube videos on social media, doing more fitness-oriented things. Always trying to get better, I guess, as a coach and do my job better. So it's, we follow places, just give a shout out to like Active Life RX, which is some PTs on a big nationwide level that incorporate functional fitness and how to take care of the body and prevent injuries and do things. So I think for us, it's learning things like that and stuff that I wasn't as well versed in, just to serve our members better and things along those lines. Okay. And then I guess me personally, I enjoy getting into all the things you get a family as you get older, the investing side of things. So I catch myself, watching YouTube videos and things with investments and how to plan for the future and all those things too. So that's kind of fun for me on a personal level.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So you're more on the any podcasts that you listen to?
Joe Rogan, and I don't sit down and get the 3-hour podcast. It's like the 20-minute clips. So if I'm eating lunch or get a quick break, it's stuff like that. But man, honestly, especially with the new one at home, it's just, we go from, I was up this morning at 3 o'clock, so it's, and I'll be here tonight till 6:30 or so. So it's tough to find time to just sit down and relax. So yeah.
Constantly on the go. So are you watching the Joe Rogan? Is that YouTube as well? Where you're watching the
okay. Yeah. I think it's, I enjoy having something to look at instead of just, I think I'll find myself zoning out or something to just listen in the car. And I'll spend a lot of time in the car anyway. So yeah.
Cool. Very good. All right, well, let's just get into it here. Tell me about your journey. And you can go as far back as you want to, but being a small business owner, just kind of tell us a little bit about you, Kearney CrossFit, and how vision came to reality.
Sure. Man, if we go way back, so I got my love for fitness. I grew up playing baseball. That was my dream. I got into weightlifting. I remember my uncle, he's a colonel in the Army, visited him down in San Antonio, Texas one year, and I was probably 12, 13 years old, and he had a little weight room upstairs in his house, and we started working out together. I remember him teaching me how to bench press. I thought, this is pretty cool. And I was a scrawny little dude all through high school. Yeah. So it was fun to get into weightlifting, but my first love of fitness and working out was really way different from CrossFit. It was the Mr. Olympia, so following all the bodybuilders. Yeah. So, like all the guys from Arnold back in the day, Franco Colombo, Ronnie Coleman and the Jay Cutler thing, and now I'm a big Phil Heath fan. So, just appreciating that side of things. So, for years I worked out of the hospital here in town at a buddy of mine that we trained together. So I was big into the bodybuilding stuff. Okay. And once I realized I wasn't going to play Major League Baseball anymore, it was slow pitch softball, which sounds crazy, but it was traveling the country. Teams, taking care of flights and doing things and doing things. So we took it maybe a little bit too serious at times. But what switched the mindset for me from, the bodybuilding side of things was I had knee issues. I was actually up at New West all the time. You load up a bunch of weight on a hip sled and you're doing leg extensions and going crazy. But I was a young guy, run around in center field, and we're playing a lot of times on baseball fields, and it's slow pitch softball. It's actually 3 outfielders at that level for the most part. So I'm sprinting, running 7 to 10 miles a weekend, and I was just beat up. And my buddy Dan at the time said, Trev, you need to look into this CrossFit thing. And this would have been 2010, 2011. Okay. And I had no idea what it was. And then another buddy of mine, Ryan Denhart, actually Stone Baristas here in town. Ryan came to me, he's like, dude, I heard you getting this CrossFit thing. I want you to train me. I want to go to the CrossFit Games. And I didn't know what that meant. Yeah. So, but Dan told me, hey, we'd always talked about opening up a gym, doing something cool, but trying to do something different. So he said, you really need to look at this CrossFit stuff. So I went up to Chicago, got my level 1. So went and took a weekend course in CrossFit and figured out what it was. Never having done CrossFit before, so I didn't know what this meant. I was young, I was in my early 20s, and I'm a strong kid. And I remember, I'll never forget it, I went in and we did a workout on our first day called Fran, which CrossFit names its workouts for fallen military heroes and then girls. And so Fran is this workout that seems simple enough. It's 45 total reps. You do 21, 15, 9 of thrusters, which is a front squat with a press overhead, relatively lightweight, 95 pounds. Like, oh, that's easy. I can grab 95-pound dumbbells to throw those things overhead. But you do that, and then you do 21 pull-ups, 15 pull-ups, and 9 pull-ups. So you go back and forth. And I remember sitting there at this gym in Chicago, and this kid in front of me took off his shirt. He's a little pudgier, soft kid. I'm like, man, I'm gonna waste this dude. And 9 minutes later, I'm the last person done in class. All the girls beat me, everybody crushed me, everybody's clapping for me. And I had never been so miserable in my entire life. I was like, man, this kicked my butt. There's gotta be something to this stuff. So what I ended up doing was coming back, and we went through that. I was like, okay, let's start a gym. Let's figure out a way to do this. So Ryan had said, hey, get me to the CrossFit Games. So, you start drinking the Kool-Aid at that point and figuring out, and at that time, the CrossFit Games is a lot different than what it is now. But we tried to do the stuff at the hospital for a while, did our own workouts, started in Mom's garage at some point. So, and in 2012, in her garage early in the year, we started getting some equipment together with the idea that we wanted to build a facility like this at some point. The trick was Trevor didn't have any money saved up. So it was finding somebody to build a building that we could rent with no prior business experience whatsoever. And so trying to talk somebody into building you $1 million facility without any history, and CrossFit was really new at the time, it's a pretty tough challenge. So found some really good guys, Mike Calvin, Austin Larson with BD Construction. They have an investment group that they kind of let us twist their arm, and as long as we got one other tenant. So we partnered up with some mixed martial arts guys here in town, and to be honest, they just put a little area of our gym for very cheap, but it was what we needed in order to have another tenant in there. So we did this thing together, and while this building was being built, once we got all those plans in place, we were in we went that whole summer in my mom's garage, that whole winter, and then in January 2013, we started out in a small warehouse building over underneath the Avenue Inn overpass while this place was being built. And by September or Labor Day of 2013, we were opened up here, and we've been doing the CrossFit thing here ever since. So yeah, you go from mom's garage and I guess a big dream to doing this now. We actually just purchased this building in February of this year. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. That's a big weight off the shoulders
Yeah.
to finally be able to get that and do it that way. So hindsight's 2020. If we could have done it, probably saved up money to start, would have been the way to go. But we're here now. It's been awesome. So yeah, so from bodybuilding to CrossFit, and definitely love this. And what I enjoy about it the most was it gave me and still gives me the ability to do all the fun things like the softball, or if we want to go do a Spartan race or half marathon, which would be at the bottom of my list, or a bodybuilding competition. Right. Again, we get the ability to do all that cool stuff, which is what really hooked me. I was able to keep up athleticism instead of just being beat down all the time and joints hurt as I got older. So that's what really got me started doing this stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
So as you've gone through this process, as far as what have you learned as far as the small business owner side of things? So you're still in good shape. You said you can still do what you want to as far as working out and physical activity, things like that. But from a business owner side, when it comes to the finances, the marketing, things like that, has that been an easy transition for you?
Yes, we learned a lot of things. Early on, I think for us, as we all got started, myself and my coaches too, there's a few of us that at that time we were like, hey, we're going to own a gym, we're going to work out like crazy, and we're going to make it to the CrossFit Games. And at that time, they did this big worldwide competition, which they still do. But if being in the shape that some of these guys are in now, they could have made it to the CrossFit Games in 2012, 2013. It was before it was a real professional sport. So, I think for us, it was, hey, we're going to have a bunch of dudes working out together. The gym thing is really cool. We get to hang out together, we get to be bros. And then the business stuff, I don't want to say it was secondary, but it was kind of like the cool stuff in addition to the workout. So we'd work out 3 or 4 hours a day. We'd coach classes. It wasn't until battling through a couple injuries, just bad luck for me. I have really bad arthritis in my elbow, no injury history, nothing crazy. We're going to Dr. Crockett. He's like, Trev, you're just bad genetics, buddy. It's just what it is. So a couple elbow surgeries, and as CrossFit developed, it turned into this deal where, man, this is really a full-time gig, and this is a full-time sport now. So once the workout stuff got set aside, it was definitely more focused on the business. So what I thought at the time was going to be a negative thing, you go to being able to focus more on your community and your people. And from that standpoint, once we switched our mindset from, and we've got to advertise on every platform. And so for all those advertising companies out there, not that it's not good, we used to advertise on the hockey arena. We sponsored everything we could sponsor. We advertised on billboards across town. So we're spending $500 to $1,000 a month just on billboards here in town. We'd be in newspapers, on the radio. And I don't want to say we didn't see any return from that, but I think once we switched our mindset to, it got real expensive, we couldn't afford it, to let's just focus on the people and the people that are inside of the gym, and it changed everything for us. So, you grow up a little bit, you start to put your own wants and desires on the back burner, and you focus on the people that you've got. That's really where things turn, and it takes care of itself. If people like you as a person, if they believe in what you do, word of mouth is the best way to do it. And so we really don't advertise anymore anywhere. We do some social media stuff, just posting about our members, things we have going on, but that's been the one big change we've made, has gotten away from, I think you got to pay for things, and I think if you just take care of your people, it'll take care of itself. So
yeah, that's huge. I think in a lot of businesses it's sell, looking at numbers from the financial standpoint, but I think as you get into it as a small business owner, you realize that relationships are key, and they mean a lot more than anyone will give them credit for.
100%.
Sometimes you have to learn it the hard way.
Yeah, we're big on community, and that's, families. We got people that are 8 years old all the way up to 78 years old working out in here, and so that's been pretty cool. It's been awesome change to see over the years.
Awesome. So what's your favorite part about being a small business owner?
The people, 100%. So, I've got my girls at home, got my family there, but had my wife, which actually met her the month we opened up, which was the one thing Mom said, Trev, when you get into business, you're never allowed to date anybody that comes to gym. Like, sure, Mom, I'm not dumb. Like, don't mingle with the members that way. Yeah, like the first girl that walked in the gym was, hey, Jade, she's pretty good looking. And so luckily it worked out. And actually my other two head coaches here that you met earlier, they both met their wives here. So right from the very get-go, the relationship that I had, Jade was way better athlete than I ever was. She was an All-American basketball player here at UNK. Yeah. She was Carnegie Athlete of the Year, 2 years in high school, which she doesn't like me talking about that stuff, but everybody knows Jade Meats. So, from the very get-go, it was cool to have somebody by my side that loved fitness and loved this as much as I do. Because if I didn't have that, it'd be pretty rough. So, every spare minute that we had, we spent at the gym, we spent hanging out with people. That's where we met our best friends and the relationship that we still have today. So yeah, definitely my favorite part is the people, from my wife to the family that we've established here. I think I read some good things from Ben Bergeron, who's a CrossFit coach out in New England, and he's got a really big following on YouTube and does podcasts, and he calls it Chasing Excellence. And one of his things is different relationship levels that you have with people. And relationship level, at the very bottom is number one, where it's just, hey, they're going to listen to you because you're an authority figure, whether they respect you or whether they trust you. But you start getting those level 4s and level 5s, it's on a deeper personal level. So, when our members start to open up to you, or some come to you in tears, they start telling you about their personal life, that's when you've really got something going. And so it really does feel like a pretty cool family around here. And there's a lot of relationships been built that are going to last a lifetime, which is cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So is this what you thought it would be?
Everything I probably dreamed of and more. I just didn't know that the work and the hours are going to be as much as what it was. It's just so cool to see everything, and I think I always dream big. Jade gives me a hard time because I think my ideas sometimes are almost too big. So it's more than what I thought it was going to be, and I think there's more on the horizon that we haven't even tapped into yet. So it's everything I thought was going to be and more, for sure.
Did you think you'd be waking up at 3 a.m. and?
Oh, heck no. So my mom's a real estate agent, and she's an appraiser here in town. And so before I got into this, I was selling real estate, and I was in my early 20s, man. I would, I'd wake up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, the real estate stuff a little bit. And then every weekend I was traveling, playing ball. And I remember having this conversation with Mom, like, I've got to do these classes at 5:30 in the morning. And she's like, you're never going to be able to do that. You don't get out of bed now until 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, there's no way. And, probably at that time you're too young. You're probably staying out too late with your buddies from time to time. So it was a mindset change. But from the day we opened, there hasn't been, I never once missed a day, missed a class, never been late to opening the gym. So went from 8, 9 o'clock in the morning getting out of bed to 5 o'clock in the morning. And then last year we had a gal that was doing classes here at 4:45 in the morning, right before we had our first CrossFit class. And she moved on, is doing something else now, and moved out of state. So we took over her class. And so, yeah, we're like, man, it's 4:30, let's just do this thing. So yeah, it's up, alarm goes off at 3:30 in the morning. I don't know that I ever saw that one coming, but yeah, it's fun and the people are cool. So
Yeah.
it's all right, yeah.
And while it's never easy to get out of bed at 3:30 in the morning for anyone, it makes it a little more rewarding when you get to come do what you love, right?
Well, 100%. Yeah. If you don't, I think I'd be passionate and enjoy what you're doing. And yeah, if this was a job, not to knock on a factory job, if it was an 8 to 5 job where I'm punching time clock or I'm, working behind a desk all day, or that's why I never got into the appraisal and real estate stuff like my mom wanted me to full time. Definitely not the same. And I think this gives me the ability to change lives, which you get to see that impact you have on people every day. So I think that's what makes all the difference for sure.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about, this year's been crazy. COVID-19 has affected people and businesses in different ways. And if you just kind of want to talk about, because I don't know how that affected your business or what that looked like, but you can talk about that a little bit. But what I really want to do is focus on the positive, something that you have taken out of the pandemic that you've implemented in your business that you're going to use going forward, and looking back, you think, this is a good thing that we can use for our business.
Sure. So my take on this situation is probably, I won't say it's different from some. I don't say I'm not concerned about it. I definitely am. I'm actually a big germaphobe, so we joke around with the guys all the time because this is all these places started all of a sudden like, hey, we got to clean more, we got to do this. There hasn't been a night in 8 years where we haven't disinfected, mopped the floors. We've got a crew. It was me early on and the guys staying here till 8, 9 o'clock every single night. The gym, when you walk out of here, looks perfectly brand new, spick and span. We've always cleaned everything. I think part of what sets us apart is that we take a lot of pride in how we do things and keeping things clean. And I know that if I'm going to pay to go to a place, I want it to look nice. So from the very get-go, we've always taken care of our place. So, the cleaning, the disinfecting, that's nothing new to us, which is really cool. So that made things easy, and our members know that about me. Yeah. So for the most part, it's like, oh, Trevor's a germaphobe. Like, I don't even like it when people take their shoes off on the gym floor. So that's like a big thing. That's a no-go. So we've always done that. So that was not a big change. We did have to reduce our class sizes. You try to follow guidelines, make everybody as comfortable as you can. But there's no way. Our workouts are, you're breathing hard, you're sweating. There's gonna be no way anybody's gonna come in here and work out with a mask on. That was gonna be tough. But when all this came about and then we ended up having to shut down for a time early on, we limited class sizes to 10, so we had that. But instead of just shutting down and taking, I don't want to say the easy way out, hey, we'll just come back when this is over, we did live at-home workouts for our people. We did 3 different live workouts on Zoom. We uploaded them all to YouTube. So for us, that was a new experience for us. We'd never done this before. So for 8 weeks, Dakota and I came down to the gym. We recorded these workouts. We did all the workouts. We uploaded them. We learned how to use iMovie ourselves. So it was one really cool thing for us, something we never had to do. We learned how to do that way. And then going forward, now we're able to do a lot of that same stuff. And we turned all those at-home workouts into ebooks, which are actually almost done, be published next week, so people can buy that programming. Awesome. So at the time, what seemed like a negative, like, man, and it was a lot of work. It is not enjoyable in front of a camera by yourself doing this stuff. But it got better as it went, and it's really cool to get people back in the gym. But we're back to normal. So other than that very short 8-week time period, we never really changed anything. To be very transparent, we've had a handful of people in here that have gotten COVID or been tested, and I don't even think for the majority of them they were sick enough to where they needed to be. It was work requirements and things, they had to be tested. And it's hard for me to figure out because in I think all but one of those scenarios, none of their spouses or family members ever got it or got sick with it. So I think what I've heard this whole time was the underlying health conditions are a big issue. So our mission going forward, and I actually wrote a little blog that's up on our website, and all this stuff started, was I wanted this for the world as a whole and for our people to be an eye-opener for the underlying health condition side of things. So I think ultimately we're all figuring out there's nothing we're gonna do to prevent this. You probably realistically we're not gonna be able to stay apart from each other for the rest of our lives. Can't wear masks, it's a virus, it's gonna mutate, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. No different than anything else is. So we're in society, we're a very reactive society. We're very, we don't like to prevent things. You know, you go to the doctor and you get hurt, you go to the doctor and you get sick. How about we try to prevent injuries? How about we try to prevent the sickness in the first place? And so our mission going forward, we've always been big on nutrition, helping our members out. But I hope what this does for people is opens their eyes to, hey, let's eliminate the underlying health conditions. Let's put our health first, make that a priority. And then you don't end up with all the sickness or people in the hospital. So, you know, that's been, I think, moving forward, that's going to be our main focus, to start to prioritize your health. We do a camp for kids each summer, and our theme for this year was One Life, One Opportunity. I want that to apply to everybody. So if it's you coming in here, my goal is going to be, Brian, look at this, man. Your body's a car. You've got it for one lifetime to get the keys to one vehicle. If you take care of it, you treat it right, you change oil in it, you rotate the tires, you don't hot rod the engine,
right,
man, it's going to last you forever. But if you abuse that thing, you don't take care of it, you don't change the oil, you don't put good fuel in it, dude, that car's going to wear out pretty fast. So what I hope comes out of this thing for everybody's whole, not just as a gym owner, but I get a unique perspective from that. I hope that doctors, I hope that nurses, I hope that everybody in the health field or the fitness profession, instead of prescribing medications, I hope that there's more of a focus on health and eating right. And I actually feel like, not getting too political, if our politicians would quit arguing about how to handle the situation, if they would do things like give people tax credits for being gym members and attending a gym, if they'd encourage, you know, getting away from fast food, and I know there's so much money in the big soda industries like Pepsi and Coke, hope I don't get in trouble with them. They're big donors to the Olympics and things, and the problem is there's so much money in that stuff that I don't know how you step away from it. But if there could be a real health push to eat healthy, get away from sugar, man, I think the world would change as a whole. And I think we'd prevent a lot of disease, not just this COVID thing. So I'm hoping for us, that's where our mindset goes. And I hope for everybody, I hope that that's what everybody takes out of this thing, is start to prioritize health before you ever run into these issues.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think that it maybe has brought it a little bit more to the forefront as far as being healthy and what you can do to help prevent those things.
I think obesity was, you know, the #1 underlying health condition. And man, if you're a 300-pound person with, you know, a body fat level of 50%, I don't care what you get sick with, you're gonna be in trouble. So hopefully it's an eye-opener where people start to take that stuff more serious. Parents can set good examples for their kids. I hope that starts to change as a whole for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Very good. So if you could go back to you in your early 20s, is there any advice that you would give that Trevor, or would you just kind of let things go and say you'll learn as you go?
Yeah, so definitely can go back. I mean, there's probably a million things I do differently to be more successful right off the bat. But I also think the only way to learn is by making mistakes and growing that way. So had you never done things wrong, I don't think anybody's ever gonna learn that for themselves. No different than growing up. Mom and dad are like, hey, don't do this. This is what I did when I was young. And then every kid's got to go make the mistakes and figure it out for themselves. Yeah. So, you know, I think that those are all good growth. Good growth comes from all that stuff. So I don't know that I'd want to change my path to where I'm at, but from a business standpoint, you know, looking back, we spent $8,000 in loans a month with rent and personal property for 6 years. So, I mean, you're talking well over $500,000. I don't want to say wasting it, but you don't get any equity built up in owning a property or doing something. So for us, man, there was times when, I mean, we weren't making money. We were behind on things, and you're scraping tooth and nail. If I could have gone back from where we started to have that capital in the bank, to be able to put down enough money to where you don't have to borrow it, and then you can earn equity, we'd almost be debt free right now. And like we just talked, man, we started in February just buying this place. Now, instead of being 8 years ahead of the game, we've got another 10, 15 years to go to be completely out of debt. Or, I mean, business is great, maybe that happens sooner, but that's the one thing, is save up the money. Everybody wants things now, and if you could just put that aside, so from a business owner, you're not so strapped, it takes the pressure off. But then the other thing would be, if you had to focus on one thing, I don't care what business you're in, focus on your people. So don't worry about all the other stuff, just take care of the people you've got. Casey Fosher's a buddy. We've developed a good relationship over the years, and he's my banker at Exchange Bank. And I remember we sat down, and it was the very first day going in there talking about the gym and what we're going to do. His one piece of advice, he said, Trev, don't hold anybody to contracts. No matter what you do, he said, if we're going to be your partners in this, we're going to loan you the money. He said, we don't want you to hold people to contracts. The number one complaint they get from people calling the bank, complaining about auto payments that need stopped, and I can't get out of contracts, which, not naming any gyms, but there's lots of places that, man, once you sign that, you're booked in there for 6 months or a year, or you go in to cancel on the second day of the month, and they make you wait a whole nother month to cancel a membership when you don't want to use it anymore, so don't do that to people. So no matter what, and like I said, there's been hard times, there's been a lot of them, we have never once in 8 years ever made somebody pay when they didn't want to come anymore. We've never once held anybody to a contract. As a matter of fact, if people call and they said, hey, my membership just came out yesterday, I just don't think I'm coming back for whatever the reason is, we've always refunded that money. Or said, hey, if you're coming back in a few months, which case sometimes we'll give you a free month when you walk through the doors. At times it gets pretty hard. You need that money, but
was that part of the plan when you thought about starting?
Yeah, so you have a business. Actually, when we started, our business plan is way different. We thought we were going to charge $150 a person, which was a pretty standard CrossFit rate. Everything you do is coached. We have a staff. You're not on your own. And our membership rates ended up being $100 a month instead, and $80 for students. And we've raised them a little bit over the years, but nowhere near $150 a person. For example, you go to Omaha, Dakota, one of our other coaches at his gym in Omaha that he was at, it's $160 a month for a college student, a couple $100 for an individual. So no, our business plan is, man, we'll charge $150 a person. It's going to be, we're in cash flow. It's going to be great. When we opened up, without getting too much detail, we had one of our own members, one of our other coaches at the time, that wanted to branch off and do his own thing. And so it kind of forced us to be competitive and lower rates a little bit. So no, things didn't go how we thought they were going to go. It was, being undercut a little bit made us lower our prices. And if we could start now, man, it's well worth every bit of $150 or $200 a month. I think we do that for people. But no, things did not go as planned. And we thought about, hey, if people want to pay for one lump sum at a time, they can pay for a whole year in advance, give them a little bit of discount. We did it for 2 or 3 people. And then in a couple of those situations, the people decided after 6 months they moved or they didn't want to be here anymore. And in each one of those situations, we gave them their money back. And when you have to give somebody 6-9 months worth of payments, that money gets spent early. So no, it's just pay by the month. And man, it's worked well. And we always let people know we appreciate your time here. The doors are always open if you want to come back. So as painful it is in the moment, sometimes you need that money really bad. It's how we put food on the table for my family. Just take care of people and it'll take care of itself for sure.
You never really forget the sting of that.
No.
Kind of financial, you learn from that. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way. In my business, I've had to learn things the hard way and you never forget.
And people always remember the bad over the good. No different than our media. Man, everybody reports on all the bad stuff. It's not all the good stuff going on. So you treat 100 people the right way, you treat one person the wrong way, and man, that scorned person can tell a lot of people you did wrong by them. So definitely take care of everybody, invest your time and energy in your people, and the rest will take care of itself.
Great advice.
Yeah.
So how can people learn more about you?
Yeah, so my cell phone number is the number to the gym, which my wife loves. It's been that way since day one.
She does.
Yeah, so I love getting every text, every call. We do our very best when our members get a hold of us. I want to be able to respond to them right away. So if you Googled Kearney CrossFit, if you drive by our building, the phone number's outside, but you're going to find my cell phone number on there. Always easier to text. I'm able to respond a little bit quicker that way. You can shoot us an email at kearneycrossfit@gmail.com. But honestly, the best way if you're thinking about changing your life or you want to walk through our doors, just come in, sit down, talk to us. So the way we start all of our new members off, we'll sit down, have a conversation for a half hour, figure out what your goals are, injury history, what you want out of this, what you want your fitness and health journey to be. And then we take you, Brian, through a handful of personal training sessions to start. We want to make sure you're acclimated to the gym. We want to make sure that you know how to move right. The last thing I want to do is put a barbell on your back if you can't execute a squat with your own body weight the right way. So we want to take you through, teach you all those things, and get you rock and rolling. But you got to start that process by walking through the door. So either call, or if you've got the gusto and the energy, just come in and sit down and have a chat with us, because this is not what everybody thinks it is on the outside looking in.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you have what do you want people to know about? Anything you've got going on this month, anytime during the year?
Yeah, so the coolest thing we do every year is our Be Elite Athlete Development Camp. We started this a few years ago. It's a camp every July for middle school and high school kids that have, whether it's aspiration to go play college sports or just be better humans in general. We run a 1-week camp where they're treated like Under Armour All-Americans. The Kearney community comes together, do some really cool things for these kids. But we always do a big philanthropic event. So, we raised money for a family with cancer one year. We went out in the community one year and just did nice things for people. So that event, if you've got a young man, a young woman that's middle school, high school age, looking at that Be Elite Athlete Development Camp, we've got a website, Be Elite, just the letter B, and then elitetraining.com, or stopping in the gym to get some info. That's a life changer for kids. It's pretty cool. So that's my favorite event that we do every year for Kearney Community for kids. But other than that, check out our Facebook page. It's just Kearney CrossFit on Facebook, Instagram. I think that'll give people a really good idea of what we do at a gym. It's so much more than just working out. It's a lot deeper than that. So that'd be the best way to do it for sure. And they come for free in the month of November. So anybody wants to walk through our doors for free, come in, work out for 3 or 4 more weeks here. It can be hard sometimes to stay motivated during the holidays. So we figured to get you in here now, and if we can't keep you, we did something wrong. So the doors are open to everybody who wants to come in right now, for sure.
Cool. Very good. Trevor, thanks so much.
Yeah, you bet, man.
It was awesome to hear your story and just more about Kearney CrossFit and everything. So I appreciate the time.
Yeah, anytime.
All
Thank
right.
you.